Hi, fifth grade. This is Mr. Neff here, and just giving you some helpful hints when you are working virtually this week on page 15. So you're probably on page 15 already. If not, go ahead and press pause. Make sure you're caught up on page 15. Looking at some of the problems on page 15, and I see that you are going to have to write the value of the underlined digit. So it's important to know your place value positions. Be sure to watch the videos that were uploaded to help remind you what those place value positions are. For numbers 9 and 10, you're going to need to write each one of those numbers in two other forms. So I'm going to show you an example of how to write those numbers in two other forms during this video, because you're also going to need to do that when you're problem solving for numbers 11 and 12 on page 15. I'm also going to adjust the directions for problem number 13. So hang on and watch the whole video so that you hear how I'm going to adjust those directions. Now, I'm actually back on page 11. So if you want to turn back on page 11, you'll see this problem. It's just talking about the diameter of the sun. Diameter is a vocabulary word that means the distance across a circle. So, of course, the sun is circular. The distance across it, it's a big number. It's a long distance. It's 1,392,000 kilometers across. So we're going to look at how they place that number into a place value chart. Each one of these groups of three numbers is called a period. So there are no value of the numbers in the ones period. The 392, you can see the 3 is in the hundred thousands place value. The 9 is in the tens, the 10,000s place value, and the 2 is in just the 1,000s place value. The 1 in the millions place value gets put right here. There is no value in the 100 or 10 millions place value. So you can see where that number fits in on a place value chart. Moving ahead to page number, we're still on page 11, but at the bottom of page 11, you can see now this is how to write a number in different forms. So the standard form is the normal way of writing a number. So we're looking at the number 582,030. That's how we would say that number. Notice there is value in the ones period here. We got 30. And when we're in the thousands period, we would say that 582,030. All right, so one other way or one other form to write that number besides standard form would be something called word form. And you can see that right here. And they started to write this number in word form for me. So they spell, of course, word form means we are going to write everything using words. So we got 582. Now I know that that's thousand, so 582. So the next thing I'm going to write is thousand. Excuse my sloppy writing. It's hard to write sometimes with my touchpad. I'm sure your handwriting is much nicer than Mr. Ness. All right, so we got 582,000. And then the last thing I need to write is just 30. So when you are working on page 15, and they're asking you to write a number in two other forms, you can use word form to help you. And that would be one other form. Now another form that you can use is something called expanded form. So just like if you're thinking about a balloon that expands, it gets bigger, we can write this number, 582,030, in expanded form where we're looking at the place value of each one of these digits. We're going to expand it. So they started and got me, they already started me. We're looking starting on the left. The 5 is in the hundred thousands place value. So they wrote that 500,000 as 5 times the place value that it's in, the 100,000s place value. So that's already done. I'm going to move over to the 8. The 8 is in what place value? Well, the 8 is in the 10,000s place value. So I'm going to write 8 times 10,000. And again, excuse my sloppy writing. All right, next I move over to the right, and the 2 I write as 2 times the place value that it's in, and it's in the 1,000s place value. So I have 5 times 100,000, 8 times 10,000, 2 times 1,000. I'm almost done. I have one more digit that has value that needs to be added for expanded form, and that's this 3. I don't need to do the zeros because they have no value. So I'm going to write 3 inside the parentheses, and times, again I ask myself, well, what place value is the 3 in? The 3 is in the tens place value, so the 3 has a value of 3 times 10, or 30. So that is an example of how you can write numbers using different forms. You have standard form, a word form, and expanded form. So when you're working on page 15 and you get to problems 9 and 10, as well as 11 and 12, think, how can I rewrite those numbers using word form and expanded form? I hope that that helped. I think there's one more thing that I would like to show you that I hope will help you with page 15. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, all right. So we have some examples here. When you are on page 15, moving back to numbers 1 through 8, the directions tell you to write the value of the underlined digit. All right, so here's an example where I need to write the value of the underlined digit. So the underlined digit is a 4, and I need to ask myself, all right, well, what place value is that 4 in? So I'm going to start over here. I remember this is the ones period, where I have the ones, the tens, and the hundreds. This is the thousands period, where I have the thousands, the 10,000s, and the 100,000s. And this is the largest period, the millions, where I have millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. So the 4 is in the 10 millions place. So this has a value of 4 10 millions. Now that's a strange way of saying it, but it's 4 times 10 million. So I'm going to write that out just so you can see what I'm thinking as I answer this question. And again, I'm so sorry about my sloppy writing. All right, so 4 times 10 million. So 4 times 10 million is going to be 40 million. So this has a value of 40 million. Now you don't have to write out this top part that I did. I just wanted you to see what I was thinking. So if you know that this is the 10 millions, you can simply write 40 million, because 4 times 10 million is 40 million. Ooh, I'm getting more and more sloppy as I go. There we go, 40 million. Let's make sure that that's a comma. All right, let's try another problem. All right, again, I need to write out the value of this number. So I'm going to start. I'm in the ones, the tens, the hundreds. Now I'm in the thousands period. Here's the thousands, the 10,000s, and the 100,000s. So this 4 has a value of 400,000. So I'm going to write 400,000. I'm going to write it in standard form. I'm sure you probably will when you're answering questions 1 through 8 on page 15, but you could practice by writing it in word form or in expanded form. And let's do one more. The 9, what is the value of that underlined digit? I'm in the thousands, the 10,000, so the 9 has a value of 9 10,000s, or 90,000. And they want me to try one more. The 4. The 4 is, wow, that has a big value. It'd be a lot of money if you had that in money. So here's the ones period, the thousands period, I'm in the millions period, and using my place value chart, I know that this is the millions, the 10 millions, the 100 millions. So the 4 has a value of 400 million. I wonder if I can type that out. 400. Oh, so much easier, so much nicer. 400 million. In fact, I enjoy doing that so much I do want to try one more. If you get the hang of it, you don't need to continue listening, but you will want to listen for the change of directions on page 15 when I go over number 13 here in just a moment. All right, so the 7 is in the millions place value, so it has a value of 7 million. And that looks like 7 million. Zeros in the thousands period, zeros in the ones period. So 7 million. All right, so there we had a lot of examples. Here's what I want you to do when you are looking at the bottom of page 15, taking a look at number 13. The directions set, please read them quietly in your head as I read them out loud. Write standard form, expanded form, and word form at the top of the page. Write 5 numbers that are at least 8 digits. You can change that word 5 to 1. Write 1 number that is at least 8 digits long. So if I had to write 1 number that's 8 digits long, let's say I'm going to write 1, 2, 3, let me go back and add a comma there. I just wrote a random 8-digit number. So that's what you're going to need to do. Come up with any number that's 8 digits long, and under it you are going to write expanded form and word form for this number. So they just want you for number 13 to write an 8-digit number and then rewrite that number in expanded form and in word form. So remember, when you're writing something in expanded form, you look at each place value, each digit starting on the left. So the 5 is in the 10 millions place value. So that's 5 times 10 million. And I should write that in parentheses. Okay, and then I'm going to add to it, the next place value, the 7. If I write that in expanded form, it's in the millions place, so that's 7 times 1 million. The 0 I don't have to do because it doesn't have value. The 6 comes next, and the 6 is in the 10,000s place value. And I continue with the 3, the 9, and so on until I've written each one of these digits in expanded form. So that's what expanded form would look like for number 13. And then lastly, I would have to write this number in word form. So that's writing out the entire number using just words. I hope you found this video helpful when you're working on page 15. And I look forward to seeing you all back in class. Have a great day.